my name is Chin Liang, and today we are very happy to have Hui Qi to join us again in today's Amazon Ads webinar on how you can measure your success by utilizing some of the reports. So I'm sure you all will get to learn more tips and take away that you can action on after the webinar. All right, so I'll pass it over to Hui Qi. Thank you, Hui Qi.
Okay, thank you, Jin Liang, and welcome to the sellers that are joining us today. So, as usual, I'm co-hosting ads webinar together with Jin Liang, who is also part of the seller education. Please feel free to scan the QR code in his webcam for more resources. So today on Amazon Ads, we will actually touch a little bit on ROAS, which is return on advertising spend, together with a little bit on how to process or how to read our sponsored ads reports in the context of Prime Day, because as everyone has probably seen already, maybe on LinkedIn or different news outlets, they finally announced the dates for Prime Day this year, which is going to start on the 16th of July. So I felt that we still have some time ahead of actually Prime Day. So we actually do have some time even to use your reports to help you perform better for your Prime Day this year actually. So without any more of a delay, I will just get started on today's content. So I will touch on some of the key tips. You can consider this almost like a last minute checklist or last minute kind of preparation for your Prime Day in terms of your reports. As well as how to look at ROAS or how to look at how to maximize your return on your campaigns this year. Essentially afterwards, I will cover some of our reports. As you probably have seen, Amazon Ads has quite many reports. It might seem very overwhelming at first, but I will guide you guys in terms of what are probably the top 3 reports that you might find the most relevant and you should touch on first. Okay. So without any kind of further ado, let's just dive straight into essentially our agenda for today. So firstly, we really want to kind of take a look in terms of how to align your goals, right? When you measure or you look at reports or you measure your return on advertising spend, you have to benchmark it across your advertising strategy and to strategically use your bids and your budgets. Otherwise, you get I often get sellers telling me they're very confused by Amazon Ads and they're very overwhelmed. So I'll take a step-by-step approach in terms of what are some of the key metrics and what are some of the good reports to kind of take a look at versus those metrics and how to use them. Yeah. And then essentially what you really want to take from reports, right? And what we call now the peak season, now Prime Day, right, is to take away what are some of the key takeaways from your reports and how to set your goals for the peak season that is coming up. So let's just jump straight into it, defining your goals for Prime Day. So you will see that essentially Prime Day consists of what we always call the 3-phase approach, right? There are 3 phases leading up towards Prime Day. So there's the discovery or the pre-Prime Day stage, which is now, where people are discovering what they want to buy. They already know, okay, 16th of July, there's going to be deals coming in. They're going to be researching and browsing onto Amazon, where they are discovering new brands and discovering the products that they want to basically buy, leading up towards a peak event, which now we know is 16th of July. And then 2 weeks afterwards, this is where we kind of recommend people to also take a look at analysis in terms of, what are some of the opportunities that we can take away from Prime Day, because of course Prime Day is peak season. But even after Prime Day, that is a great time for us to really take a look at how to grow our business even after Prime Day ends, right? A lot of people say that, oh, after Prime Day, my sales immediately tank and it goes to nothing afterwards. Then how do you actually start picking back up? And we all know that even in the second half of the year, there's going to be more events. There's going to be Black Friday, Cyber Monday. There's going to be the Q4 peak shopping season. And there are also ad hoc kind of discount days even after Prime Day. So we just need to learn from Prime Day and then take those learnings and improve even further in second half of the year. So you can take a look at 2 different analyses at this kind of point of time and prepare for it. So essentially, internally, our research shows, right, that if you start advertising before Prime Day and then up towards Prime Day and slightly after Prime Day, you'll see that actually people are able to better build your brand presence with shoppers. So the goal here is to sustain your growth and your brand's growth until the end of the year. So we actually encourage sellers, for example, after Prime Day ends, you shouldn't immediately shut off all of your ad campaigns. Of course, you can lower your budgets, you can lower your bids, but it's actually a great chance for you to download some of your reports and also to do retargeting. Basically, there are some people that might have forgotten to buy during Prime Day. So you can, for example, use sponsored display, remarketing, this under Amazon audiences, and remarket to people that might have seen your ad during Prime Day and retarget them even after Prime Day ends. So even before we start, I want like our sellers to kind of like think about, what are some of your goals for Prime Day this season? Because we have quite many different sellers with us on the call, right? You might actually get, for example, you might be a new brand. So actually you just want to increase your brand awareness. You want to ensure that people are more aware of your products that are being sold on Amazon. Or are you already a seasoned seller? You already kind of have already somewhat of a brand presence, but you want people to start considering and then like increasing their purchase intent towards your products. Or are you super seasoned and you really just want to build loyalty with your brands? So it's quite important to define your different goals. You can have many different goals for Prime Day, and then we take a look at the different reports that relate to these goals. So yes, essentially, you might have many different goals you want to achieve. So you want to structure your campaign strategically, and this helps you to actually measure better and understand your campaign impact better. So taking a look at our campaign performance, right? I think jumping straight into maybe like the top 3 kind of essential tips I want our sellers to take away before Prime Day hits this year is number 1. We will touch on budget today. So actually budget is super important before Prime Day. It's something that you need to prepare leading up towards Prime Day. So if you go onto your ads console, you will see under campaigns or even the budget tab, you want to take a look at the specific columns, which is status as well as budget. So even before Prime Day, during Prime Day, and after Prime Day, you want to ensure that your key campaigns, so for example, your hero campaign that is driving the max sales for you, especially on your best-selling product or your cash cow products, you want to make sure that the status is delivering, because essentially, you might be shortchanging yourself if somehow your ad campaign got paused for whatever reason. And one of the biggest reasons why your campaigns might not be delivering, might not be green in the status tab, could be because you have not set enough budget actually. So I think the biggest kind of mistakes that I commonly see for our sellers leading up or during Prime Day itself is that they kind of forget about the budget. Like you just sustain the same budget as before Prime Day, like since January, February. Oh, I always set a $10 to $20 budget every day and it has been fine for me. Not for Prime Day. So I think for Prime Day, you need to be aware that there's going to be much more bigger traffic coming onto Amazon, because people already know, it's going to be a peak shopping season. They're going to be flooding it even before Prime Day. So you need to already start slowly adjusting your budget upwards now by 10 to 20%. And before Prime Day, I would say you should almost double to triple your budget to ensure that your campaigns, especially your top campaigns that is generating the most orders for you, don't go out of budget. Because if it goes out of budget, your campaigns pause for 24 hours. So that's precious time wasted. Yeah. So how to determine your daily budget? I think that's like the quick tip for leading up before Prime Day is that essentially you can actually take a look, if you are a seasoned seller already, or you have already started advertising, which I hope most of our sellers have at least begun trying advertising now, so that you can prepare better for Prime Day. Is how to set a daily budget. So you look at the previous month, how much have you spent on your advertising campaign, and then essentially you will want to divide that by the total number of days, and that will be your average daily spend. So for example, if in last month, in June or May, you spend about $600 as your total ad spend, you will want to divide it by 30, and that brings you to about $22 daily budget a day. So this could actually show that, for example, like the minimum daily budget is $22 in this example, right? Or the easier or kind of like lower effort kind of a way is to adopt the budget recommendations on the budgets tab. And you'll notice that in the Amazon Ads console, the budgets tab even has a recommendation for only peak season, right? Where, you know, the algorithm kind of predicts how much increase in traffic or how much faster your budget is going to spend before Prime Day, and you can adopt the budget recommendation, but often times is quite high. So you want to take a little bit of a look back in terms of last month or last 2 months to see what is your daily budget. And you want to increase 10 to 20% slowly starting from now, from today. And then, of course, during the peak day itself, which is the 16th of July, I would actually, you know, on 15th of July, I would actually double at the minimum or increase by 4 times our daily budget to really help account for like the potential increase of traffic on Amazon. So this is especially for your hero campaigns, right? You don't have to double your budget for every single campaign. You want to filter by your top order generating campaign, and then you know that those campaigns are your hero campaigns, right? They help you drive max of your sales, so you want to double that. So you just want to ensure, if you go to the budgets tab, you will see actually that there is an average time in budget kind of a tool. So if you haven't, you might also want to open your ads console now and you go to budgets tab. You will see that there is a column that says average time in budget. So the recommendation from us is that you must consistently stay 75% average time in budget for most of the days. So essentially, you ensure that your campaigns are running and you have greater ROAS on average. Ideally, it should be 100%, but at the minimum, you should be average more than 75% in budget for the day itself. So again, this is a bit of a kind of a case study in terms of how to manage campaigns that run out of budget, right? So you'll see that, you know, in the previous month, we set the budget at $20 per day. You'll see that, for example, you know, the A cost is increasing. You'll notice that, let's just take a look, right? In the previous month, for this manual campaign for sponsored products, we're selling coffee makers. You'll notice that it went out of budget at $20 per day, and you're generating almost at about 2,800 clicks. So you'll notice that, you know, Amazon advertising is CPC, right? It's cost per click. So you are charged based on the number of clicks, number of times people click on your advertising, on the ad that they see, which you are running. So you will see that this person, our coffee maker manual campaign, at about $20 daily budget, he generated about 2,800 clicks, right? And it's a very good ROAS campaign. So we can toggle this on our campaign manager in terms of the time. So we look at previous month, $20 budget, we already got 2,800 clicks, and we are going slightly out of budget already, but it's a very good generating report in terms of 7 ROAS. So we look at current week, right? This is like coming up towards Prime Day. We have just kept the same amount of budget, but you notice that the clicks have increased dramatically. So over here, you actually really want to ensure that you need to increase your budget tremendously. If you notice that, you know, by about 2,800 clicks is already going out of budget, you know, now we are getting about 21,000 clicks, right? You will want to ensure that you almost double or triple your budget right now to factor in for the increase in clicks. So by adjusting the time frame, you actually see that there is an increasing trend in the number of clicks, number of impressions that are coming into this campaign. So it's a good news, right? It's good. It means people are seeing your ad, they're choosing to click on it. So to ensure that you sustain this, you need to increase your budget. So you just want to take a look at maybe your past month, or even, you know, the same time period from last year, if you have been selling for more than 1 year, to kind of see how much your budget should be increased by and how much clicks actually it increased by. So this is the kind of a tip that we encourage our sellers to take a look for your budgets. So if you take a look at the budgets view on the ads console, this is what I was referring to. There is a column called average time in budget. So over here, you want to ensure that you are 75% in budget for all your campaigns, but most importantly, your top order generating campaigns. Yeah. And then over there will be a budget tab where you can immediately input your budget that you want to make adjustments for. And then of course, Amazon will recommend a recommended budget. You can choose or select, peak season or non-peak season. But since we're approaching Prime Day already, so you might want to take a look at the peak season to kind of get a sense of how much Amazon expects traffic to increase. And you can easily change your budget here in the budgets tab, or you can even change it manually in each of your campaigns. So this is the easy way for you to kind of ensure that you don't go out of budget. Number 2 tip is essentially bidding. So for Prime Day, I will usually guide sellers in terms of budgeting, bidding, and targeting. So we're moving on to bidding now. So you can take a look at what is essentially, a bidding guidance leading up towards for Prime Day, how much to bid for actual keywords and for product targets, right? So what happens, like we often get quite a lot of questions, right? What if the suggested bids from Amazon is very, very high? What if your product is actually a bit lower price than the suggested bid? So actually, you have 2 options. Number 1 is just to bid slightly lower, right? You still have to keep a profit margin, so just bid slightly lower, but you will be slightly less competitive. Or number 2, you can, instead of choosing very big words, so for example, if I'm selling a coffee maker, instead of bidding on coffee maker, which is a very broad, generic category keyword that captures so many different competitors and would be likely quite competitive, you might want to bid on longer tail keywords. So what are longer tail keywords? It could be, for example, coffee machine manual grind red color. So something a little bit more specific to your product's main selling point, so that essentially you narrow down towards people that are ready to buy, for example, a manual grind coffee maker, for example. You don't want to target people that are just looking for, maybe capsule machines or automatic machines. So you just bid on slightly more specific longer tail keywords, so that you firstly target people that are a little bit more specific towards your product. You waste a little bit less money because it's a bit more specific already, and it's likely to be less competitive. So that's the 2 options for this FAQ. So that's the 3rd thing that we also want to take a look at in terms of how to improve your return on advertising spend. We'll be looking at our key metrics. So you will see on the ads console, right, there's like a bajillion different metrics to look at, right? There's impression share, blah, 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 blah. But actually, for our sellers, don't get overwhelmed. I actually recommend you to take a look at only 3 key metrics right now, which is impressions, clicks, and click-through rate. So click-through rate, if you know, is clicks divided by impressions. Very simple. So you can toggle on your ads console to only show impression, clicks, and click-through rate. And that's how you actually take a look at your key metrics. You want to ensure you are getting enough impression, which means that you're getting enough traffic, people that are coming to see your ad. Clicks is someone clicking through. It actually signifies purchase intent, or that the fact that they're considering your product. And click-through rate is essentially also representative of, how much people are considering your product. And you can target to actually, for example, increase the click-through rate, especially on your hero campaigns. So these are the 3 key hero metrics that we encourage our sellers to look at. And when you download reports, instead of being overwhelmed by too much information on the reports, you need to look at, for example, keywords that are generating the three high metrics: high impression, high clicks, high click-through rate. So this will be the metrics we want you to focus on. So how to maximize firstly on impressions? So I think a lot of new sellers will actually struggle with this problem. So maybe you're launching a new product, or you're just a new seller that's launching your first product on Amazon. You might notice that, hey, you're only getting a little bit of impressions, or your ad campaign is not delivering enough. And this is important because marketing is a funnel, right? You need to broadcast and throw out a wide net, ensure that your brand and your ad hits a lot of different people before enough people will choose to click on it. So impressions is the starting point for a lot of advertising campaigns. What happens if you don't have enough, or you want to get more impressions? So you might want to essentially, firstly consider increasing your bid for your very high performing targeting group. So a lot of big sellers I've met actually sustain automatic campaign, because essentially the automatic campaign acts as a machine to generate good keywords for you, right? This is Amazon algorithm automatically targeting people. And leading up towards Prime Day, you'll notice that some people start searching for things differently. So in the example of coffee maker, maybe in all other months, people just search for coffee maker automatic machine, for example. But maybe closer towards Prime Day, you'll notice an increase in number of people searching for coffee maker Prime discount, Prime exclusive discount, or Prime coupon, for example. So the automatic keyword targeting campaign actually serves you this kind of hints, right? This kind of new keywords leading up towards the peak season that you actually want to pick out, and you might want to create a separate campaign and target people that are looking for a discount. Then you can actually serve them your product that is actually on discount, right? You're selling a coffee maker on discount. So you might want to actually create a whole separate campaign around maybe, Prime exclusive keywords that are like a bit more trending towards this season of Prime Day, and target it with your deal ASIN, your ASIN that is on deal or on coupons. So that's what you can do. Set up an automatic campaign, or sustain or increase your bid a little bit for your automatic campaign to ensure that you hit enough people and you actually get a bit of a sense of new keywords that are coming in. Number 2 is you want to increase your bids for your high performing keywords. So I would actually encourage a lot of our sellers to focus quite a bit on keywords, because for Prime Day, people are browsing and searching, right? And where are they searching? They are searching in the search results box. They're searching via keywords, right? I'm looking for a coffee maker. I'm looking for a kitchen pot. It's really very much driven on the search results page, and you want to ensure you gain more impressions and traffic. And I would say keyword will be very important. So you want to start noticing and downloading maybe the search term report to see what are some of your hero keywords that are performing very well, generating a lot of sales for you. You need to start increasing your bids 10 to 20%. And you want to compare versus CPC, your bid versus your CPC, and you ensure that you are 10 to 20% higher than your CPC. So that's number 2. Number 3 is product targeted campaigns. So I would say, for example, in terms of budget allocation, I would still put more budget behind keywords. But if you notice that in terms of product targeting, you are getting very good results. Usually this is for actually, if your product has a significant product advantage over your competitor. So maybe, for example, your coffee machine, you are lower price, or you have much more features versus your competitor. You could be getting good results from product targeting campaigns. You might want to increase only for your high performing ASINs or categories. So that's the tip. And of course, our last tip is, of course, to ensure that overall budget for all your campaigns, you need to increase it. So looking at our click-through rate, right? This example is, for example, over here we have campaign number 3. We notice that essentially, the click-through rate is at 0.23%. And then 2 weeks later, it actually increased in terms of our impression clicks and click-through rate, and it increased to 1%. So I think you would notice essentially, right, what are some of the campaigns that showed a significant increase in impressions, significant increase in clicks, and significant increase in click-through rate. So in this example, out of campaigns 1, 2, 3, and 4, as I mentioned, you want to focus on only 3 key metrics, which is impressions, clicks, and click-through rate. And you will see that essentially for campaign number 3, it is actually having very high impression, very high clicks. It actually has the highest impression and highest clicks versus all 4 campaigns. But click-through rate is not ideal. So something is wrong. Like, why are we getting so much impressions from this campaign? That means a lot of people see it, but they are not yet really increasing our click-through rate, right? They are clicking a lot, but it can be improved, because if you see your other campaigns, they perform a little bit better on click-through rate. So how do we actually ramp up or increase our click-through rate? So firstly, actually, even before these 3 tips, the first thing would also be really taking a look at what keywords you're targeting. So as I mentioned, you might want to narrow down or find high performing keywords and narrow it into phrase and exact match for longer tail keywords. Number 2, You want to optimize your product detail page, right? You want to ensure that your hero image is very high quality, very high res. You want to take a look at your competitors to see whether your hero image is equally as high resolution and as eye-catching as possible, because that's what incentivizes people to click on your ad. And then of course you also want to optimize your product detail page, right? You want to include clear product title, clear description, to make sure the Amazon algorithm also thinks that your product is relevant. Number two, as I mentioned, you need to find high performing keywords. One big factor why your click-through rate is not increasing is because your keywords might be too irrelevant. So in the example, if for example, we are selling a coffee machine, you might be targeting a keyword like coffee, which is too broad, right? Of course, you will get a lot of impressions, right? So coffee machine is somewhat related to coffee, but it's also a little bit too broad. So the clicks will be much less. So you want to actually focus on higher performing actual customer search terms, maybe coffee machine, rate, automatic or manual function, and then you use exact match to make sure that you are targeting relevant shoppers. So that's number two tip. And then the third tip is to review your targeted ASINs for relevance. So when you are setting up how to target a manual campaign, you can actually use filter. So for example, you can only choose to target maybe, for example, a certain price range. So if your product is maybe a $600 coffee machine, you might want to target something that is higher priced so that people, find that your $600 machine is a better deal. So you might want to narrow your price range, for example, or you might want to target slightly less star ratings products, meaning that you have a very good competitive advantage over, a lower reviewed product, and you can actually encourage people to switch to your product as well. So this is what I mean by using filters to actually narrow down and to find more relevant audiences so that you improve your click-through rate. Yeah. And then the last but not least is to, apart from, impression, clicks, and click-through rate, you also want to take a look at your conversion rate. So after they click, how many people actually order from your product? So that is the conversion rate, right? Orders divided by clicks. So you want to understand that, okay, maybe a lot of people are starting to click on your product, but for some reason, not much people is ordering your product. It's very frustrating because this actually directly attributes to your A cost, right? If a lot of people click, you get click, you're getting charged because it's cost per click, but nobody actually orders it. It actually affects your return on advertising spend, right? So we definitely want to take a look at, in terms of how to actually set our target. So this is what I mean earlier when I asked sellers, what are your goals for Prime Day? So of course you can choose to gun for only sales, only conversions, right? Then over here, you need to ensure that you always look at ROAS, return on advertising spend, and you want to set a high ROAS target, right? A high ROAS target is usually above like 3 to 4 for very good return on advertising spend. So this means that you're just focusing on getting more people to convert, getting people to order your product. And then usually for certain brands that are launching new products, you're very new to selling or you're just launching a new product, usually it's actually better for you to set an impression target or impression goal. And you won't focus so much on ROAS because ROAS is a lower ROAS target is just a bit more appropriate because you're more concerned in terms of ensuring your brand name gets enough impressions, enough traffic, in the case of a new product. So you just need to ensure that you set the appropriate target. If you just launch a product for only 2 days, it's almost impossible to expect super high ROAS because you haven't gotten enough ratings and reviews, right? And you slowly still need to build more impressions, more clicks before then you eventually gun for higher ROAS or higher return on your advertising spend. So the Prime Day lead up is, a good opportunity to increase our ROAS. For example, I actually don't recommend our sellers to launch new products on Prime Day itself, on 16th of July. You actually should be launching it earlier. So you want to farm and increase more impressions, more traffic before the event itself for your new ASIN, for your new product. And we usually recommend 6 to 8 weeks before Prime Day itself. So we're a little bit too close. But for example, it's still okay to launch before Prime Day actually, and you run your sponsored product first, essentially to increase your ROAS. Yeah. So how do we actually calculate our break-even kind of ROAS, right? So we need like 3 key metrics. Firstly, it will be our average profit margin. So what is our profit margin? You want to take your average selling price. Over here is around $10, and then you want to minus your average order cost. So over here, your average profit margin is at around $8 or 80% profit margin, right? So then we want to take a look at what is our essentially break-even ROAS. So for our break-even ROAS over here in this example, it will be 1 divided by 80%. So about 125% or 1.25. So for us, a break-even ROAS is 1.25. So we want to ensure that our campaigns should actually get 1.25 ROAS on average. So over here, we in this example, we run 2 different advertising campaign. So firstly, it's our product targeting. So SP is sponsored product targeting for coffee makers. And then the second campaign is sponsored products, keywords for coffee makers. And then over here, both of these products, we have a profit margin of around 30%. So in this example, you will see that actually for the product targeting campaign, our ROAS is actually much higher, right? And you want to ensure that, for example, in terms of your keyword campaign, even though we actually see better click-through rate, the ROAS is a bit less. So what is our takeaway here, right? Essentially, our keyword campaign is very still not very high away from our break-even ROAS. So essentially, even though we're getting good click-through rate, there is an actual issue with our sales, our orders. So it just means that your keyword campaign might not be effective enough, it's low performing, and we need to optimize it essentially. So in terms of our product targeting, which is very high ROAS, very good results, over here, then my recommendation to sellers is you need to take a look at your bids versus your CPC, and you need to ensure that you are always 10 to 20% higher than CPC, because this is a very good campaign. This product targeting is a good campaign that you need to sustain. It's generating most of your sales. You need to sustain. For your keyword campaign here, which is very low ROAS in comparison, but you still have a decent click-through rate, I would say let's not give up, but we need to optimize this campaign, right? So over here, you want to firstly check that your CPC, that you are not too high also. So you might want to be a bit more conservative in terms of your bid versus your CPC. And then of course, you need to optimize the actual keywords that are in this campaign and optimize it. So number one is that, for very low performing campaigns, and usually like a lot of sellers ask me, how do I really kind of assess what is low performing? I would say that if, in more than 1 or 2 months, it has generated almost no impressions, no clicks, no orders, right? There is something wrong with the campaign. You'll want to delete the campaign and start from scratch. If, for example, it's very high clicks, but very little orders, you need to optimize it aggressively. Maybe the keyword targeting is wrong, or the product targeting is wrong, or it's too broad. In the case of, coffee machine, maybe you're targeting keywords like coffee. You're using broad match that is targeting too broad words. Then you need to optimize. But if, for example, in a case you just don't get orders anymore from the campaign, you might consider actually lowering your bid and lowering your budget, and then you reallocate the bid and budget to a better performing campaign. Just reallocate it to something that is working better for you, right? You want to, for example, again, find out what are the search terms or ASIN targets that are not performing and are like slightly below the minimum recommended bid, and you lower the bids. Essentially, you save yourself some money and you lower your bids. Then you want to find, for example, low performing keywords. So in the case of coffee machine, you're targeting coffee, right? Then maybe just negate the keyword coffee, right? Use negative targeting to really just prevent wasting a lot of money on low performing keywords. And as I mentioned, right, find long tail keywords that is more relevant to your product. And then for high performing campaigns, right, that is where you reallocate your budget to increase your budgets, help increase your visibility, right? Reallocate budget from your low performing campaigns. And then you need to find the 3 highs, right? High impression, high clicks, and high click-through rate, even high conversion rate. That is your hero of the hero campaign. You need to increase your bids, ensure that you are always higher than CPC. So CPC is the sense of how much the winning bid is for the ad campaign. It could be you, it could be your competitor. It's the average winning bid. So you want to ensure that you're 10 to 20% higher than CPC. And number 3, you need to always look for top performing or top converting search terms and ASINs. So for example, in the earlier case where I said we have an automatic campaign that is pushing out latest trending keywords, right? For example, coffee machine prime discount. Maybe this prime discount is a new keyword that is generating good sales for you. You need to take those new keywords and put it into your top performing campaign, and then reinvest, put a bit more budget into it to ensure that essentially you are getting, you're putting money behind where the orders are coming in from. So this is what we do for our low performing and for our high performing campaigns. Yeah. So the last tip for our sellers is, I know we all want to focus very much on Prime Day, but we also need to take a look at our performance before and after Prime Day, right? So during our key sales days, we need to really take a look at, for example, what is our impressions, clicks, and click-through rate. So you need to understand when these metrics start to increase in the ramp up towards Prime Day. So now we are about 2 weeks away from the Prime Day. You need to start adjusting your time frame on Ads Console, right? From 1 month time frame to 2 week time frame. Then you need to start looking at your campaigns. Which of them is starting to increase their impressions? Which of them is starting to increase their clicks? So you can see that, for example, in this SP campaign, we noticed that 3 weeks before it's at maybe 2.2k impressions, around 290 clicks, and then 2 weeks before the event, we see a slight increase already. 1 week before the event, oh my god, it almost doubled, right? It almost doubled in terms of impressions. And then for clicks, it also about a 1.5% increase. So 1.5 times increase. Then during the week of the event, we actually see, wow, impressions really almost times 4 from 3 weeks ahead, right? And then our clicks almost tripled from 3 weeks before the event. So this is a learning. So during Prime Day itself, this might be an example. And then for Black Friday, Cyber Monday, you will get a sense of, hey, actually 3 weeks before the event, I might want to start, already increasing my budget. And then right before Prime Day, during the week of the key event itself, I might consider actually tripling my budget to ensure that I accommodate and get so many clicks at the minimum for Prime Day or for Black Friday, Cyber Monday. So that's how we kind of take a look at the time frame and how our impressions and our clicks progress. And then we also want to see our insights from the previous year to set stronger budgets and bids, right? So in an example, 2 weeks before the key event, right, our spend is around 2k, and then our CPC is around 0.8. And then during the week of the event, we actually noticed, hey, CPC actually increased to 2.8. And then we actually saw that our spend almost times 4 during the event as well. So this is actually normal for Prime Day. So essentially, not just yourself, your competitors will also be fighting for prime spots, right? Like top of the search results page. So you'll notice that definitely CPC will increase. So you need to be aware of it. You need to always take a look at your bid versus your CPC. And you want to ensure that your cost per click is competitive so that your ad pops up. And then you'll notice that your spend also increased almost by 4 times. So you also need to set aside enough budget of 4 times to ensure that your ad stays in budget. But this is also to help you capture good enough sales, good enough increase in your sales for Prime Day itself. So this is what we need to be prepared for. If you have last year's results, you need to start taking a look at your spend and your CPC. And this is how you can factor both an increase in bids and both an increase in budgets. So essentially, the other one takeaway that we also want to take a look at is in both the campaign report and the advertised product report. So number one, we just take a look at campaign report only. You actually want to, for example, here you will see essentially that this person actually set up a deals as well as a coffee makers coupon, right? You want to ensure that, for example, you kind of notice how your peak period campaigns actually contributed to your sales and how it actually increased, right? So this is what we can take a look at. You'll notice that, for example, maybe in during the peak period, you'll notice that actually maybe here in this comparison, if you see deals versus your coupons, you can actually see that over here for keywords, the deals campaign actually perform better. And then for product targeting campaigns, the coupon perform much less better. So what is the takeaway here? So actually, I would, for example, reallocate more of my budget towards for keywords. I would take away a little bit of budget from coupons and reallocate to the better performing campaign. And then for here, your coupons your ROAS is higher. So I'll take away some budget from my deals, and I'll try to see if I can improve the performance of my coupons campaign. So over here, there's very little impressions, but it's okay click-through rate and good ROAS. So over here, it could mean that your campaign is just going out of budget. So here, that's what you want to fix for this campaign report. And then for our advertised product report, you will actually want to see, for example, essentially, what are the ASINs that actually generate really the good return on advertising spend for you. So within just one campaign, so you'll notice that it's only one campaign. Maybe you choose to advertise, five different coffee makers in this example, right? So here you would want to make sure and learn from your Prime Day, right? What are your better selling ASINs? It's as simple as that. So within the campaign, you advertise 5 different ASINs. Maybe you realize that essentially, what is essentially helping you gain impressions could be this ASIN on the bottom row. But then the best performing, right, basically helping you generate a very good return on advertising spend will be just these 3 ASINs, and you might want to focus your efforts on only 3 ASINs in the next campaign period. So the actions to take here then is that, for example, for your high performing products, you want to keep active and you want to expand it, right? And then essentially over here, you'll see that low impression kind of products, you want to move to a separate campaign. And then your low performing products that is not performing super well, we will want to actually reallocate budget. So you'll notice here, right, it's very high click, but then very little sales. So your ROAS, your ROAS is very low. You might want to actually lower down your bid, lower down your budget for this campaign, and then you reallocate to your higher performing campaigns. So over here, products, over here, it's high performing. You want to move to a separate campaign. So this is the action to take after your key sale dates. So other things to consider is essentially, you want to firstly take a look at your search term report to learn about how your customers discovered for your products. So we have so many different reports. I think number one most important report for our sellers to learn about is search term report, because it shows the search term that you're targeting and the actual customer search term. So you really want to learn what is the good keywords, right? There are also seasonal keywords. So there, for example, there will be the deal or coupon, Prime exclusive, free delivery type of keywords that are coming up only near Prime Day. So you want to identify all these new relevant keywords to add to your upcoming campaigns. And then number two, right, you need to see whether or not to maintain your campaign. So if your Prime Day campaign performed well, I would recommend our sellers not to shut it off immediately after Prime Day ends. You can lower your bid, you can lower your budget, but you need to actually keep it running for at least 2 weeks after Prime Day to extend the momentum, and you need to check your report maybe there are some keywords that are very wasteful, like the broad keywords like coffee, for coffee machine. Maybe in right after Prime Day ends, don't turn off the campaign, but you optimize straight away. You start reducing your bid, or you negate negative target broad keywords that are very expensive, like, or getting you a lot of clicks but no orders, and then you optimize. So that's where you can do the check-in, and then you optimize your campaign. And then the third tip is essentially you want to use a purchase product report. So all these are all sponsored product reports. You want to check what is the actual purchase product report. So this product report actually shows you, so for example, if I'm selling coffee machines, but I advertise 5 different colors: red, blue, green, yellow, purple, for example. I advertise all 5. The purchase product report shows you which is the best selling one. Like maybe the advertising, the ad that they saw was the red machine, but eventually you'll notice that from the purchase product report, your best selling color could be purple color machine. Then that is where you can also optimize. So instead of targeting all 5 different colors, you might want to choose the purple one as your hero color to feature, because that's where people are buying. So that's how you can also optimize and find new opportunities. So that is essentially the other tip that I will encourage sellers to take a look, even after Prime Day ends. So this is the key takeaway. Number 1 is to define your goal. As I mentioned, if you're launching a new product, it's not really fair to expect very, very, very high ROAS if it's a new product, because you still need to build impressions. So you might want to set an impression goal. Number 2 is for our sellers, you need to increase your daily budget. From now, take a look at your reports, take a look at last year or take a look at last month to see whether or not, in the past 3, 2, and the past 1 week, whether or not your budget or your clicks have been increasing. Then you need to increase your budget accordingly. Number 3, how to improve your click-through rate. You need to monitor your click-through rate across all phases of Prime Day, and then consider how to optimize. As I mentioned, how to optimize click-through rate, find more relevant keywords, optimize your product detail page. That are the key tips to improve your click-through rate. Number 4 is to review your ROAS and your ACoS. Very simple, just reallocate your bid. If you notice that the campaign has been low performing, just reallocate to your higher performing campaigns and make sure that your high performing campaigns don't go out of budget. And then number 5, even after Prime Day, don't turn it off. Identify what are the good selling products, what is the high performing products, what are your lower performing products, and you can separate them into different campaigns to ensure that basically you maximize your budget well. So this is the key takeaway I would recommend for our sellers for today. And then, essentially, because we still have a little bit of time, so we will kind of do a quick summary of the different kind of campaigns that we have for sponsored products. So if you see here, sponsored products, and this is like a cheat sheet for you to kind of remember what the different campaigns, different type of reports that Amazon gives you. Over here, there's like many different reports. So I would, again, as I mentioned, for our sellers, the most important report would actually be to essentially focus on our search term report. So that is our number 1 biggest, most important report to take a look at. So this is where you farm basically your high performing search terms, and essentially, create also negative keywords to cut out any like irrelevant keywords that don't meet your goals. So that is the number 1 most important report for us to take a look at. And then essentially, I think I would say the most, that is number 1 most important report already. So the other reports that I would actually recommend for our sellers will be basically our targeting report and our advertise product report. So campaign report is overall performance. So it's almost the same as looking at your ads console versus looking at the report. It just summarizes your campaign. So it's a bit generic. Performance over time is also similar, like it's almost a summary of your ads console. Placement reports basically tells you, a small check mark here is that it tells you what is working well for you: top of search, product targeting, or rest of search. right? I think for more mature sellers, I would say you also want to take a look at placements to see, for example, if maybe top of search is actually very good in terms of generating high click-through rate or high conversion, then you could actually, reallocate more budget to specific top of search placement. So that is the tip. Search term report is the most important. So I'll encourage all our sellers to, number one priority is to download our search term report. Sorry, trying to draw a star. So this is the most important. And then advertised product report. So essentially, you just want to kind of see whether your product is being advertised. So this is ideal for before Prime Day. You want to make sure that all your products are advertised. Targeting report is to take a look at how your targets are performing over time. And then after Prime Day, I would say after Prime Day, the product purchase report would be an interesting thing to look at. So for example, if you're the type of seller that is selling, as I said, maybe socks of 10 different colors, coffee machines of 5 different colors, you want to find out what color is the best performing color. That will be the purchase product report for you to take a look at. But the most important will be search term report. Yes. So let's take a look at our search term report as an example. Sorry, let me try to see whether I can remove. Yes, I can remove. So just to kind of help our sellers kind of understand how to take a look at the search term report. So this is number one most important, and because we have more time, so I will cover this in detail. So for our search term report, when you download it, it will be an Excel that looks like this, where it shows, all of your different campaign names, which, essentially you will want to make sure that you are looking at the appropriate campaign. It will show your targeting type, which is the search term that you are targeting. And then in terms of the match type, what is the different match type? Is it like broad? Is it phrase match, or is it exact match? And then essentially, you will see your targeted search term, right? So in this example, I'm the coffee machine seller. So I targeted keywords like coffee machine in broad match. I targeted coffee machine in phrase match. I targeted coffee capsule machine in exact match. But then that is you trying to capture all these people that are searching. But what are they really truly searching for? So you want to ensure you match it to customer search term. So this is the actual customer search term. So you'll notice that if you target, for example, coffee machine in broad, it is very broad targeting. It will also serve your ad to people that search for coffee. It will also serve your ad to people that search for machine. It will, and then you will find that, for example, the real customer search term, red coffee machine, how did it perform? It actually generated, for example, lower than average impressions. Lower, clicks is okay, but very low impressions, right? And then high ROAS. So over here, in this search term report, this is a potential keyword. So the takeaway from this number one under high performing search terms for the first example is that you want to take red coffee machine and you want to put it into phrase and exact match to see whether you can improve the performance. So you want to add to a manual campaign with exact match for this example. And then the second example here is coffee machine in phrase match. And then you will see that the actual customer search term was Italian coffee machine. And over here, you actually see it's much lower than average click-through rate. You got very high impressions, lower click-through rate, and then essentially super high ACoS because so many people clicked on it, but very low ROAS, right? Like 14-day conversion, very low. So in the past 14 days, your conversion very low. So a lot of people somehow click your ad, but they just refuse to buy it. So I would assess this as a low performing search term because in 14 days, it generated very little sales. You might want to just add this as a negative keyword as phrase or exact match. So you might want to essentially negate Italian coffee machine so that you save yourself some money because basically people click but they never order. So that's the takeaway. The third example will be essentially, we take a look at this example, coffee espresso maker in broad. right? And then your customer search term is your brand name. So maybe Hui Qi coffee maker. Then over here, the click-through rate is uncertain, but ROAS is pretty decent, right? Our conversion rate is actually pretty decent. So it's undecided. So this is what we call like, KIV. Don't give up on it yet. Over here, I will actually choose to move to a different campaign, right? And allocate like slightly separate budget to monitor the performance for maybe another 2 weeks, right? To see whether or not the ROAS improves. Specifically also because it's a branded name campaign. You might want to see whether or not you can try to improve your brand building, right? It's a long-term game. So over here, you could want to essentially, try to target keywords for your own brand name, move it to a separate campaign, call it a brand building campaign, right? Put more custom images, right? Ensure that your A+ content, your product detail page is beautiful, and we see whether or not we can improve this and basically optimize this campaign, because the ROAS, the conversion rate, is okay. So essentially, this is how the search term report actually kind of works. You can download it as a master list, and then basically you're picking and choosing what are your top best performing search terms, what are your low performing search terms, right, that generate no conversion, or you find out what are some of your question mark search terms, and you put it into a separate campaign, so that you basically are a bit more micro in terms of allocating correct bids, correct budgets to which of these keywords. So you will want to put more bid, ensure that your bid is higher than your CPC for high performing search terms. For low performing search terms, we exit. Then whatever budget you have set aside, potentially you reallocate to your higher performing search terms. And then for your question mark search terms, they are potential, they could be selling potentially, or they could also fail later on. You monitor, you sustain the budget, and you sustain your bids somewhat near to CPC, and then essentially you keep it in a separate campaign, and then you can always optimize. So you monitor what are your better performing keywords, keep adding it to your hero keyword list essentially, or you cut out and reallocate the budget. So this is the biggest and most important report for our sellers to take a look at for search term reports. So this is kind of 1 hour of so much information for our sellers to absorb. So I will actually stop here. I would say search term report is actually really the most important report for most of our sellers to take away for today. So I highly recommend you guys to go to your ads console. Under the little bar chart icon, you can download your sponsored product search term reports to take a look. And just as a reminder, the key metrics to take a look at will be impressions, clicks, click-through rate, as well as your orders. So I hope our sellers learn a lot today. So this webinar will actually be uploaded onto our AGS YouTube channel, our Global Selling YouTube channel, for playback for you to review and for you to pause the video along the way if you didn't manage to catch it. So please also take a look at our YouTube channel to ensure that you watch this again if it has confused you in any way. And over here, I will pause and take any questions if our sellers have. Yeah.
Hello, Hetty. Thank you so much for your presentation. I think I personally definitely learned a lot from this. I do see there's actually quite a few questions already. Meanwhile, I think because it's pretty long, you can maybe spend a few seconds to take a read while I will share some information on my end, if that's okay.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to share there are some resources from Seller University that you can also take a look at. Well, there are some guides regarding, of course, to run your ads, you should also look at optimizing your listing first. Right, there's no point just investing in a lot of Amazon ads without actually optimize your listing first. So, there are some guides here as well as some Amazon ads FAQ to help you as well. So you can scan the QR code. Right, if you miss it, you can watch the recording for the QR code as well. Right, and I'm also sharing some of the new webinars that we have in July. So there's going to be another Amazon Ads webinar as well, together with IT again in July. So do register if you're interested in those topics that is listed here.